guys, what's up? My name is Katelynn. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I want to talk about the emotion code, the body code, and the belief code. It's a 3-part certification invented by Dr. Bradley Nelson. And I first read the emotion code back in December of 2022. That is when I found it. And I was so excited that it was like, cool, I'm gonna buy the next book as soon as it was available. And this book teaches you how to use muscle testing to find trapped emotions in your body and then how to release them. And since December of 2022, I have personally released from myself using the emotion code 1,200 trapped emotions. Slightly more than 1,200 trapped emotions because I have a journal and I keep track of like today's date and then, okay, here's what I want to work on. Here's the trapped emotions. Okay, trapped emotion 1, cool. Did I release it? Yep. Trapped emotion 2, cool. And I'd keep track of it. So it's like, oh, this day I released 5 and then 12 and then 17 and then 5 and 3 and whatever. So my notebook is completely full, that journal that I've been using since December of 2022. I just started a new one. I've done that and I'm very proud of myself because it has made a big difference, but there's still things that I need help with. And I do use a variety of resources to help me in my healing journey. So I do the emotion code, I do tapping and EFT, I do yoga, I read books, I journal, I see a therapist once a month. I get massages and fascia stretch therapy because I store emotions in my body. And healing is not a one size fits all, but I do think it's important to try things that might help you. And then if you find something that you like that is helpful, try to be consistent, right? Anyways, I read the emotion code. You can get certified to become an emotion code practitioner, and that is level 1 of the 3-tier certification. So level 2, the next level after you've essentially mastered the emotion code, is the body code, also by Dr. Bradley Nelson. The whole thing is by him. And I bought this book as soon as it was available in February of 2023, and I have read the entire book, but I don't actually use it that much. It has come in handy. I've tried using it here and there, but mostly I just use the emotion code. And the emotion code is literally the basis. If you use the emotion code, then you can use the body code because it builds upon the emotion code. And the third level, which I see ads about on Facebook all the time, where it's like, oh, the belief code. And there's no books on it yet, but I decided to see an emotion code practitioner a few days ago. And I made this decision because I was reading Toxic Parents by Susan Forward, and I made a video about it, but in that video, I hadn't finished reading the book, and the more that I read, the more I was just having anxiety and crying a lot, and I just felt pretty horrible because it was stuff that I had been avoiding looking at and stuff I really needed to heal. But it basically unearthed all this stuff from my subconscious mind, and I really needed help dealing with it. And so, I called my therapist, hello, help, and she was unavailable for the week. And so I'm like, okay, well, I need to do something because I just feel horrible and I have finals. I've just finished my Spanish final. I'm so grateful. But it was so much stress, emotional stress, school stress, life stress. And so I was like, well, I could use the emotion code on myself, but I'm like, I need some outside perspective. And so a few weeks ago, I told my mom, I'm like, hey, you should see an emotion code practitioner to help you with whatever you're having issues with right now. And so I just Googled them in her area, Googled emotion code practitioners in her area, screenshotted it, sent it to her, and was like, hey, you should call this lady. A little while later, she called this lady, and she had a session last week. And so it was the timing of my mom just had a session. My mom had good reviews with this lady. And then also my therapist is unavailable and I want to see a professional. So anyways, I call up this lady and it's cool, schedule for Friday. And she is certified in all 3 levels. So the emotion code, the body code, and the belief code. And oh my goodness. So our session went really well. And it was super interesting because on the phone with her, she was like, okay, think of 3 beliefs that you have that we can test for, use muscle testing for, to see if they are if they're beliefs that fall under the category of the belief code, or if we just are just going to use the body code and emotion code on them. I'm like, okay, cool. So I picked out my 3 beliefs, the 2 things that I have been struggling with my entire life, and then 1 thing that popped up because of the Toxic Parent book. And so anyways, it was like, okay, one of the beliefs that I had was that I'm bad, defective, and broken. And I have believed this for so long. And it was like, okay, is this a belief that we can work through? And the answer was yes. Okay. And then the second belief that I wanted to work through was I don't deserve to be happy. And so it's like, okay, cool. So we worked on the I'm bad, broken, and defective belief first. And it was so interesting because it was like, oh, I don't even know exactly what everything means, but it was like, oh, there's 2 different parts to the first belief, so we're going to start over here and work it down, and then we'll start over here, work it down, meet in the middle, and then work. She kind of described it like a tree, where it had all these branches, so you kind of just work through the layers, and then you get to the trunk, and then you get to the roots, and literally dissolve it at the root cause. It was super cool, because I don't know anything about the belief code. And so it was just so much. And it was like, oh, does this sound like true? Like she was doing muscle testing on herself, but she was connected to me. We did this over Zoom. And she's like, okay, well, does this sound true? I'm like, yep, that sounds true. Okay. And like, then it's like, okay, well, we cleared these beliefs, but then underneath them, we need to use the body code because you have beliefs stuck in certain places, like in my spine and in certain veins in my body and my liver and whatever else. So she cleared the emotions from my body and then cleared any remaining trapped emotions in my body that may not be in any particular organs or circuits or whatever. But like then used the emotion code and it cleared whatever else, like any and all remaining energy surrounding these beliefs. And that was just for 1 belief that was like, and then she did it for the next belief of like, I don't deserve to be happy. And basically same thing, but it was just like a single, this one was like dual something. This one was just a single tree. I don't know. But anyways, it was so good. And I cried a lot. That's what I do when I release things. I just cry a lot, but I feel so much better. It literally, like, I was able to read the last chapter of the Toxic Parent book. I read the last chapter this morning and I didn't cry about it. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I just feel so much more free in a way that I didn't know was possible. I highly recommend reading the emotion code. I recommend that to everyone. We hopping in Facebook groups and they're like, oh, I'm struggling with this thing. And I'm like, have you read this book? I think everyone should read the emotion code and use it on yourself. And if you want to read the body code, like, go for it. It's actually really cool. I use the emotion code chart basically every day. I know it's backwards. But I just keep this book. I keep this book with all my journals so that way if I'm using the emotion code, I just refer to the emotion code chart. Because then it's like, oh, do I have a trapped emotion? Yes or no? Cool. Is it in column A or column B? Odd row, even row. So for example, let's say column A, row 4. Is it anger, bitterness, guilt, hatred, or resentment? And you use muscle testing to find which emotion it is, and then you use a magnet and just run it over your head to release it. It's super cool. And it's been super helpful and powerful. There has been instances like when I was 14 years old, I had a trapped emotion in my body. Maybe I was 13. But I had a friend who got in trouble and he wasn't allowed at school because his mom wouldn't let him go to school. So I call up his house phone and I'm like, he picks up and he's like, oh, I can't come to school, blah, blah. And I'm like, your mom's so mean. And his mom heard me say that. She was listening on the other line and she chewed me out. She's like, I've been nothing but nice to you, blah, blah, blah. And I kind of felt bad that she heard me say that she's so mean when she was really nice to me. And it was a few months after that so the mom got in a car wreck and died. And I felt horrible that my last words to her were, you're so mean. I mean, they weren't necessarily my last words to her, but she overheard me say that and called me out for it. And so, recently in the past year, that middle school friend ended up passing away, and seeing their obituary brought up all of the, I mean, I was sad, but also just the shame and guilt and horrible emotions I felt, like, oh my gosh, I'm such a horrible person because I said those things to his mom. And it brought up this old wound that was never processed. And so I was just like so upset, like extremely upset. And I'm like, this isn't a normal amount of upsetness. Like, a wound had been triggered. So I used the emotion code. And I think I released like 19 trapped emotions around that. And I instantly felt better after that. And I'm like, this shit works. So, like, you can get trapped emotions at any point in your life. And sometimes you can inherit trapped emotions. So on this belief code session, she found a trapped emotion from my dad's side of my family that went back 17 generations. And there was 2 beliefs actually that were like fused together that went back 17 generations. That is insane. And she released it. Like, we can pass down unresolved emotions to future generations. But when you heal it within yourself, you release it from the entire past and release it from being passed to the future generations, which is super cool. So if you have some healing that you need to do, I highly recommend reading the emotion code, reading the body code if you feel called to. And I decided at some point in the near future, after I achieve some of my other goals, I'm going to get emotion code certified. I'm going to start with that. I might get certified in all of them at some point, but it's like, oh, it has helped me so much. And I love tapping. I do feel like the emotion code is just an additional tool that I can help people heal. Like, that's my purpose on this planet. Like, I want to help people heal from the shit that is hurting them, because we don't need that, okay? So anyways, I recommend just checking it out because it is super cool. So there you have it. That is my spiel on the emotion code, body code, and the belief code. And I recommend checking out local practitioners, or they can do it over Zoom or whatever. Like, check it out because I was so impressed. I was like, oh, I had no idea. Oh, also, I've been doing bi-weekly tapping sessions with another EFT practitioner, and every time it's like, oh yeah, the belief that I'm bad, I'm broken, I'm defective kept on popping up over and over and over again, and we weren't getting to a root cause of it. So I do feel like with the belief code, we were able to just like literally get to the root cause. And I don't know, she said it might take a couple of days to weeks to be able to feel the full effects of our session. But it's like, I already feel so much better. So anyways, just another tool in your tool belt if you decide to utilize it. I recommend it. So thanks for being here, and thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Okay, bye.